Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Yoku Masaki Show. I am your host, the self-proclaimed cat ear extraordinaire, and today, uh, I wanted to leave you guys today with a brand new episode this week. Um, for those who didn't check my Twitter and all that, Instagram and all that, um, I had a really special guest today on the show. Uh, but before I get to that, first off, I wanted to do this side knock sequitur of a introduction prologue for this episode, today's podcast, because the podcast was previously recorded. So I wanted to just at least do a little bit of an introduction to you guys of updates on things. First off, this episode, Mark won't be in the episode due to the fact that he was busy with personal situations, but he will be back for the episode in the next week episode of the Okamasaki Show. So he'll be back doing that. And also, I'm thinking of changing the schedule to every once other week. That way, I will have at least a week in advance to prepare for the episode, and then we will have the episode up by that same week, by the week after. So, so expect every episode every other week. But if I'm able to do two episodes at least, or in that case of it, I'll try to do at least two episodes. But I'm gonna try to change it to this for the moment now until the least August. Then I'll be back in August doing every episode every once a week. That way I can be able to keep things in touch, the editing process and everything like that. Also, for those who are going to listen to today's episode, I apologize on the audio on my feedback of it. Basically, like I told you guys before, I have been in the midst of transitioning my equipment for my recording progress and stuff and software from my laptop to my desktop. So now I'm recording my podcast on my desktop, and on my desktop, let's just say a lot of things are changed on that progress and everything here. So I'm still working out the kinks and everything. So in the midst of still the kinks of stuff like that, I unfortunately hit the double audio with my recording end. So you will hear a double echo of my side of the recording process of my vocals. So I apologize for that. I got that straightened and taken care of by the time this episode is up. So I promise you that it will be taken care of. But aside from that, everything is fine with today's episode. I told you guys before I would have a big guest on this episode, and I did not lie about that. So today's episode will feature none other than my good friend Miss Holly Wolf. She's a cosplayer, Playboy playmate, very recognized model, and she came on. She took time on the show just to come and help me out. Not only is she going to be talking with me about her love of Zelda, she'll be talking about the cosplaying community, the stigmata of being a Playboy playmate and a nerd at the same time, her upbringing in Ontario, and she will also answer a few personal questions for me, such as why is it Canada is always seen cold? So I I will let you guys know on the case of that with today's episode. Also, before I go on to this episode, I also want to let you guys know that within this episode, um, next next week, by the time this episode comes up, the next week, I will have a brand new segment on the episode that we will be doing, especially new. We're going to work out a few little test items and few test things for next week's episode. Also, thank you to everybody from Kalasakon who gave me a lot of love. I was supposed to do an episode. I know the episode after Kalasakon I did officially by myself, but I will be talking more about Kalasakon next year and everything in case of that much of it. Also, I am in the process of looking for questions from you guys because there will be an episode that I will probably do every once a month, which will be called Ask Yoku, where you guys will be asking me questions since I want to use my YouTube in the case of it. And again, we are on iTunes and every other digital media, so you can find me on iTunes, Amazon, or Google Play, or you can check out my video on YouTube. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. Today's episode with Holly Wolf. Today is a special day for me because today I have an actual guest. I said I would deliver you guys a guest. I actually am a man now of my word. And the crazy thing is I never thought I would get this big of a guest. The moment I was found out that I finally could get this person on the show, I'm so happy to have them, and I'm really glad that we're starting out big. Of course, for those out there who know, I'm doing solo duty today. My boy Mark, my co-host, isn't going to be with me today because he's busy with everything his wife and everything. But that's fine. I think I can take care of everything myself in this. So today, ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to announce my very first guest on the Yoku Misaki show. She is a cosplayer herself. She's worked for Playboy many times. You've probably seen her in many covers and issues of Playboy. I believe there's a few from the Philippines that she's been cover girl of. She's very big a Zelda fan, if anything. I know that the most. And, well, if there was any character who is a representation of who she is, Diva from Overwatch, she has been said to be the physical representation of that, even though in a physical sense you would look at her complete opposite. But enough of my jabber and enough of my schoolgirling right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Holly Wolf is with us today.
Hello, what is up?
Thank you so much for taking the time out to be on here on the Yoku Misaki show. I could never have dreamed to have a big guest. Technically, this is our second conversation about it because, of course, we first met in New York Comic Con last year in your Diva outfit and such. You were working with, I believe, Treadwater was the name of the company in the comic you were working for.
Yes, Treadwater. Yeah.
The coincidental thing was the people you were working for. In the case of it, I know a few of those people as well. But it was still great to meet you that whole time, and and while I couldn't officially get a session with you, I was at least glad that we finally got to meet on that case of it. But I was curious to knowing how did you run across me? Was it because I believe you are one of my friends who's also mutual friends with you, Chantel Knight, aka Zombie Bit Me. Was it her that put you in my way? Was it because of her, my work with her, or was it because of other things? I'm curious.
I have no idea. I can't remember that far back.
Yeah. Okay. Don't worry.
My brain is everywhere.
It's
so
fine.
It's very hard for me to be like, oh yeah, I pinpoint this.
Yeah.
Someone asked me about my day yesterday, and it literally took me a good minute to remember the morning.
Well,
I get so busy, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening. So
yeah, it's fine.
Please don't ask me those questions.
I'm not gonna go too mathematical or anything like you on that case of it. Don't worry. I'll make it easy for you in the case of it. So we're gonna. Yeah. So let's actually start out with something that I'm pretty sure that you can really talk a little bit about. I don't know how much depth you can, but I figured this would be the big question of you. A lot of people, of course, know from your work a bit is that the fact that you are a diehard Zelda fan, true and true.
Yeah.
So I want to know, and I figured the people out there would like to know, what was the first Zelda game that got you totally enmasked into the world of Hyrule?
First was Ocarina of Time.
Okay.
Yeah, I was born in '88, and I definitely wasn't on any of the earlier games. I started playing video games when I was 5, 6, 7 or whatever. So by the time I started getting really into video games was basically around the time Ocarina was released. And even then I was afraid of it. I don't like spiders, and the first freaking boss is a spider. Yeah, Goma. And it's just okay, this is great. So I forced my friends to come over and help me beat the bosses in Ocarina of Time.
so
I watched them play.
Okay, that's good to know. Were you ever familiar with any of the the lesser known games, like the PC Zelda games that came out with the terrible animation that's been memed around those?
I've never played them, but I've seen them in several YouTube videos.
Yeah.
My God, what was the deal?
Yeah, the animation is terrible, but I love the fact that people have used those as memes in many cases.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious.
It is.
It's just the,
I always wondered that because I'm just theirs was just so bad, but they don't it's hard to say if they confirm official or not, but it's just they're so terrible looking. And the story plays are just so bad. I'm just I wonder if she writes those off because there's always a fan base in video games or in certain franchises that they've done like a terrible version of it, and people have
Right.
written it off. Like me in the case of
Oh
it,
yeah.
and like me in the case of it, like certain fighting games or certain comic books, I've always turned off the fact of like, no, those don't exist in my world. So
Yeah, those
that's
are yeah, like those aren't canon. Those are
I
exactly.
I figured as such. I'm like, is it? Does anyone ever brought those up to her? Because I'm pretty sure she doesn't. My introduction is actually a lot earlier than yours, I guess. Link's Awakening was my
Okay.
intro of it. I still have the cartridge to the case, even though I don't.
Amazing.
Yeah, even though I don't have a Game Boy anymore, but I still hold that one, and it's only because of the fact of the melody that's used in that game has been just in the back of my head for
Oh,
years. So I've always had that game connected to me because of music. So you
right.
know, yeah. So that's my game in particular. But I have played Ocarina of Time, and I won't lie, I'm like everyone else. I'm a big Majora Mask nut. You know,
Good.
so yeah, because it's just the case of it. So of course, a lot of people, I'm pretty sure, know have seen the amazing video from the revealing of Breath of the Wild of your waterworks during that whole video streamage when it was
Oh yeah,
released on
that
the
was
case of it. Um, what was going through your mind when you saw the amazing landscapes and the visual graphics for this game when it was finally going to be released on the Switch and consoles? When you finally got to see the gameplay of this amazing game that takes you back to your childhood in some cases.
yeah, no, I thought it was amazing. I went to E3 last year.
Mm-hmm.
Um when they had like Nintendo's booth was literally just Zelda, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I got to play it like a year ago.
Cool.
So I think, I don't know, like my excitement stemmed from seeing Zelda for the first time, and that's why I cried, was because like I already played the game. Like, I demoed it at E3 a year ago. Like the gameplay, everything, I played it. I was like, yo, listen here, I'm cooler than you. I played the game. But I had such an emotional reaction because they were so secretive about Zelda and what she looked like and the storyline. Like, you had no idea
Mm.
what was going on. So the fact that we finally got a glimpse of Zelda in like not one, but at the beginning 2 outfits, and then later 3. And as a cosplayer, it's like a cosplayer's dream.
Mm.
And then just the fact that like it was so emotional. Like everyone was like best trailer ever for a video game, and it definitely was. It was so intense, and you've never gotten that from a Zelda game, let alone voice acting and like all this crazy stuff they just like threw at you and you weren't expecting. So I think that's why I got so emotional.
I I completely understand. I mean, like, and I wouldn't be surprised that you get access to E3 because of your credentials and what you were able to bring to the table and everything and your profession. So it's not surprising that you were able to get an early glimpse of and play of the game. But to just reel through all the memories going through your head when playing that game and seeing it just brought to life in a different perspective must have been just like it's so overwhelming because it's always been that way when a new game from a universe that you are so familiar with is so out there and you see it
Yeah.
and it's adding on. It's like I'm already seeing like my life pass before me from the moment I first touched the game console or the game cartridge of the first game I played from that series, seeing how I've transcended years after years and just seeing that happen. It was that same way with me with Street Fighter. So,
Okay.
I was that way with Street Fighter because I played Championship Edition for the Sega Genesis. When 5 came out, I was just like overwhelmed of like, look how far we've come. So I
Yeah,
can
that's very true.
yeah, so it's just I completely agree with you in the case of it, but in some ways I'm pretty sure like it was more of a higher reach for you when it came to Zelda for this one. Um, so I'm pretty sure you already know about the DLC that's coming out, right? For Breath of the Wild.
I do. Yeah, and there was some massive new developments this morning because there's a con in Japan. Is it Japan or in France?
I believe it.
And
I believe it is. You're right.
yeah, and they released when the new DLC takes place. So everyone that I know is freaking out about that right now.
And I'm pretty sure people are blowing up your social media on
Oh
letting you
yeah,
know the kind
my
of thing.
Twitter is just like it's all Zelda right now. Everything I look at, everyone's like, "Oh my God, this, oh new footage, let's analyze it." Ah, so I'm just like, "Oh
Yeah,
wow."
indeed, indeed. So we're gonna switch a little bit because for those out there who I'm pretty sure are surprised about it, it's not every day. I mean, I believe along with you, Pamela Horton and Amelia Talion, you ladies are, I believe, the trendsetters who have changed the game for Playboy models or playmates or whichever terms you guys
Yeah,
use when it comes to women who are involved and in love with the geek culture. And that's what makes me like, that was what put me on from you, Amelia, and Pam. Even though
hmm,
Pam and Amelia have left the franchise of Playboy, during
yeah,
their time there, along with yourself, I have always thought the fact that, it was always a stigma, I guess it is, that, women who are in that profession could never be interested in those type of things. Was
right.
it was it always somewhat made you feel like more of the black sheep within the credentials of the other playmates who are like not into that sort of culture like you were and like you are and like Amelia and Pamela is?
Well, I would say, yeah, I would like when I was in high school and college and stuff, I kind of like stopped playing video games a little bit. And, obviously I was much involved with other things. And so I kind of just like stopped for a bit and you kind of take that and you just don't talk about it. But
Okay.
when I started modeling and then from there, like when I started really working for myself, um, that's when I was like able to take what I love and like just kind of expose it again, I would say. Um, I mean, I have a lot in common with other girls and other playmates, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I ever really felt like a black sheep
Okay.
because, you know, everyone has different things that they like, so, but as a girl, we have a lot of things in common as well. So I
Yes.
never, I never really felt like, super out of it or, in a corner because all the other girls are talking about makeup and I can't relate. Like I can relate. So
Okay. Well, I mean,
yeah.
it makes sense, and it's just the more of the fact, like I said, my years of knowing Playboy, unfortunately, as a male, it's always that
Mhm.
sort of credential. I would think that you can't be interested in those type of things that of the culture and the geek culture. Anime, video games, comic books. Supernaturals or science fiction stuff. That couldn't be a thing within that profession. That's something you have to put aside, and in your profession in Playboy as a model, it's the setback that you're given this. I figured you have given this uh, template of you have to be in this way of it, less intellectual, or in some cases of less interested in that case of it, but more into the genetic of what most women are, who either women who are aspiring models, or in your profession, or more of the case of that. Uh, Lesser the case of it, but nothing into that geek culture. And like I said, I never knew until knowing about you and Amelia and Pam that I'm like, oh, there's girls who are actually interested in this. And I'm like, it's not like I'm saying like there's no girls who can't be interested in that who are models. It's just
Yeah.
when it comes to the Playboy, and I don't want to disrespect on the Playboy brand because that's where you're working. It's just in the Playboy brand, it's never marketed to show where we're interested in that geek culture. And like I said, it took Pam and Amelia when they did the Gamer Next Door channel, and when you're coming up as a cosplayer yourself, and your
Mhm.
channel, your own channel, and stuff in your profession outside of Playboy, that we started realizing, oh, there are gamers, there are cosplayers who are girls interested in the culture who work for Playboy, and we never would have expected that. My knowledge of
Yeah.
Playboy extends up to 2004, 2005. So
Okay.
I wasn't really into that because I'm the type of guy, and it sounds weird coming from me because some of the sexual interests, even in me as a photographer, it was never that interesting to me except of the visualization. the
Right.
look of things. That's what's always me. That's what made me interested in doing photography on my end of it, you know. But it's not to say that like if it was ever an opportunity that Playboy would hire me to do photography, I would take it at a jump. But with
Yeah.
some stipulation in the case of it. But it was always from what I've learned in those years that in Playboy there was no such things as geeks who are playmates. That's what I always thought. I'm like, these girls would never be interested in any of it. And even though most of the the women are given to the viewers, the male viewers especially, this visage of these are the girls that you want to be with, and if like whether you have an interest in them or you're looking for a girl close to that, they are never going to be interested in what you're interested in, especially if you come from the geek demographic.
Right.
But then when you guys came to the scene, it made it so good to the point where we're like, oh, you girls are interested in what we're interested in too, even more. And that's a beautiful thing. That's what makes me really happy for women like you guys standing out. And that's what made me a lot respect for you as well as Amelia and Pam. And I don't mean to put you girls in the same category. It's just you three are
Yeah.
always the three that was in my mind that stuck out of everybody else. Because I'm
Right.
like, like I said, there have been a lot of other women who have gained popularity even outside of Playboy, but it was you three because it was you guys come from the same demographic that I obsess about. I could talk
Yeah.
like I said, we've discussed about Zelda just recently. I could never talk to any of the others about that. I mean,
Well, yeah.
if anything, like one or two of the women will probably know about Pokemon, but that's about it. Because I've seen
Yeah.
that time to time of it. But
It's very, I mean, it is more rare, definitely. Um, yeah, but I don't know. I know a lot of girls that are more casual gamers, but yeah, I think when it comes to people that are really, obsessed with it and love video games, yeah, it is more rare within the modeling community and life and
mhm,
stuff, right? So,
yes, yeah,
but to say girls, like that's the cool thing about Playboy though. Like when you read the pictorials on the girls that were playmates, like the cool thing is like yeah, they're gorgeous, but most of the time they have something that they're either really interested in or it's a very interesting, unique talent that they have or something. Playboy was always really good at kind of like showcasing that to kind of keep that whole gamer or not gamer, LOL, as
mhm,
their series was called Gamer Next Door, but like
yeah,
the girl next door vibe.
exactly. And,
Yeah.
and again, like with you three in particular, that's what made me with the case of it because I'm like, you can relate to us. You've obsessed about the same things we've obsessed with. It's just
Yeah.
the fact of visually you're more appealing. That's the only difference. And
Right.
you extend more compared to Amelia and Pam. I personally feel because of the fact of the cosplay, the enthusiasm that you put into it, the dedication and the hard work that you do into it, and you worked your way up like the other cosplayers in the community, and that's what makes me. That's honestly the only thing that sets you apart from the other two is the fact of how much you put into the work of it. Like your Zelda costume for Breath of the Wild was amazing. The work you put
Thanks.
into it, everything, the details of it, the passion that you love to do it, all the hard work that you went through it as well, from the physical aspects of it in your body physique to even the details and the props and the costume. So it's not always about just the fact of the interest of it, but the passion that you put into your work, and that's what I feel sets you apart in the case of it from others because of how much you put into the work that you do. And even now, like the cosplay you're probably working on now, you're putting so much work into that, and because of how much you love it, and it's not just I'm just gonna do this because I'm working with a big name brand and because I model there, and even though I love this stuff of it, I'm not just doing this just to get a popularity. No, it's something you're passionate about, and that's what I have. Yeah, and that's what, like I said, and that's what gives me a lot of respect for you, a lot compared
Thank you.
to other models who jump on the bandwagon just to get it of the claims of that. So that brings me to another question because I've recently seen this happen, and I'm pretty sure you get sick of it time and time. Um, of course, I'm not gonna lie. I am one of the many people who have supported your Patreon, and for those out there who want to join in on that, I will send the link, of course, to Holly's Patreon. Uh,
Thank you,
where
thank you.
which a lot of good stuff is in there from her travels, your travels to other shoots with other companies to even your cosplay future work, and of course there are some more exclusive stuff for the looter fans out there who are more
Yeah.
worried about your modeling profession and less of your interest in the case of it. I'll just say.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
I'm pretty sure you've seen a lot that's going on with a lot of fans or not fans or viewers out there who pretty much have been critical and criticizing on cosplayers like you and even other just cosplayers from Jessica Nigri to to Vera Bambi who who've been on the Patreon bandwagon and have been doing like more looter stuff but still bringing the aesthetic of cosplay into it. And
Right.
they're critical of saying the fact of this isn't cosplay, this is just trying to put a wig on and you're putting sexy stuff into it, who are saying it's not like authentic to the cosplay regime. How do you feel
Hmm.
about people who judge you guys for stuff like that?
Well, that's all they are. They're judgy and stupid. Like, to be honest, like, if here's my thing, like, if you're not hurting someone, right? Like physically hurting someone, whatever, like, why do you care? Um, I don't think a lot of people realize how much cosplay costs. Like, for example, my Zelda cost me about $4,000.
Hmm.
I don't think people know that, you
No.
know? Oh, sorry, I'm getting weird updates.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of money. So Patreon is so wonderful because it lets us continue to create and fund things that we want to without like breaking the bank, right? Like people constantly expect us to have new things, especially cosplayers, new
Hmm.
things, new outfits, new everything, but they like, that's time, that's money, that's a lot of effort. So Patreon is amazing for that. And yes, we do sexier stuff on Patreon, like cool, the girls that decide to do it. But the thing is, it's the stuff that's funding our bigger builds
Hmm.
and letting us have the time to do that and still making fans and people happy. So anyone that ever has a problem, I'm just like, sorry. I'm so sorry I'm affecting your life.
I mean, it's just
You can
it's
go over there now.
yeah. On my personal feeling about stuff like that, it's just that's the one thing that's always just concerned of it because I'm like, I get you ladies are doing that stuff to get a little bit of more views, a little bit more money in the case of it, but you're not hurting. But I agree, you're not hurting anybody in the process of that, and at the same time, um, you know, you guys are just not affecting the character in the franchise of it in any case either. It's for specific eyes only.
Well,
So
yeah. And the thing is, like, there's so many super sexy characters, whether they're in alternative versions or their normal outfits. Like, geez, anime, cosplay, video games, like crazy over sexualized. So it always it always baffles me when people are like, "Oh my God, you're over sexualizing a character." It's like, well, maybe sometimes we do gender bends, but for the most part, listen, guys are the ones drawing the female characters like this. So
see, and that's
what do you
another
want
thing
from me?
too. Yeah, because for a perfect example out there, and people out there probably didn't know, you had one of your lewd shoots, not too lewd, but it was a little bit just not too risque, but a little bit sexualized of it. You did a shoot for Diva, one of your favorite characters, of
Yeah.
course, and I'm pretty sure you've gotten a lot of criticism from people about how you over sexualize this character who is supposed to be not even much sexualized in the game, more adolescent in some cases, but
Yeah.
the way you've made her more an intimate into the character and how you've sexualized her, whether it's just something as simple as the PJ sleepwear that you did with her or the swimsuits versions that you've done of her. So I mean that, for example, it doesn't. I mean, I'm pretty sure it gets annoying to hear people just criticize the fact like, oh, you're turning Diva into this sexy character. She wasn't sexy before.
I don't know. I guess because I'm so used to it, and people that are the ones saying that. Like, you look at their profiles and you're like, whoa, okay, so you're not doing anything
Yeah.
with your life here. So why in the world are you criticizing other people? I would never go on other people's pages ever and be like, oh my god, like you need to fix your hair. Or, oh my god, can you fill in your eyebrows? Like they look terrible. Like, why? What?
Yeah.
So it's always interesting when you get such weird negativity from people because I, as a human, I don't feel like I'm programmed that way. So
I completely agree. Like I said, I personally love the aesthetic of the look of things in that what you shoot of it, even if it is sexualized and everything. And I also always look at it as this: it's a rule of the internet. There's always going to be something of a pornographic in the internet. People have to remember
the
that too.
internet is for porn.
Exactly, exactly. That's what I'm like, does anybody not remember the rules of the internet? Anything is
Yeah,
going
it's
to be
the
turned into
internet.
porn. Anything from even from strawberry shortcake cake to Pokemon, it's going to have that
Yeah,
sexualization into it. So, and I've
exactly.
gone through the deep recesses of the internet to find things so bizarre that a sexualized character in a video game is the least of my worries.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah. Um, of course, I also want to bring up something too in this case of it related, and I'm pretty sure this will be a little bit minimal, but it does pertain to that. I know recently you had to deal with also the negativity on Patreon, which is there are people out there who feel they say they support your work, but unfortunately they go so far to the point where they are messing up everything in the case recently, from what I've recently heard, you had one point of your tiers uh, was including nude lewds as part of the rewards of it, but you've had to now shut that down because of the fact that people are going on to your Patreon, pledging to get the nudes, and then leaking them out on the internet. And I'm pretty sure that's something that you're new to, that you've been recurring on Patreon in the case of it, but you now, but you probably had to deal with some cases of that before, outside of Patreon. Has it been like is it something like one of the aggravating things that you have to just clock in your head, like, I hate it so much, but I'm just gonna have to keep pressing on.
Yeah, definitely. It baffles me that people would ever do that. Pay for something and then give it to everyone else for free. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm like,
especially
why
when,
would like my
yeah.
my higher tier is like $60.
Hmm.
That's that's not cheap.
Yeah, no,
Why
no,
would you spend that?
yeah.
And then be like, here, everyone. But yeah, no, this month I had to take like a lot of extra time and send links individually to all of my higher tiers. So if it happens again, I'll know exactly who it is.
Exactly. It's disappointing
So
that, yeah, because
yeah,
it's disappointing. It ruins it for everyone else. It's not
it
my.
does.
Yeah,
It's so weird to me, and I'm not the only one that's happened to. There's several Patreon girls that do like a lot of work on there that it's happened to, and
oh yeah, yeah. I've
like,
recently.
why is this a thing?
Yeah, I've recently found out that like there's a subreddit that actually deals with most of the women that I've known, including most of the women like yourself, who unfortunately they have uh, most of the leaks are there, and I'm just like, these women work so hard to get these photos out for your pleasure of it, for the money, because that's all they're concerned about is just doing this for the get the money out of it, and just to see their stuff, their hard work, just put out there for people to look at for free. It's
Yeah,
heartbreaking, and as a photographer, it's like I'm seeing money put on the internet for, just for people to just cash grab. And the only reason
yeah,
why I don't like it as a photographer, because it's on my end as a photographer. If that was my work, if I had shot something in the case like if I shot with you, and that stuff was up, the work, the money that we had to go through, and everything on the process of that, just to be out there for people for free to take, it's enough to give me an aneurysm. So I can completely
yeah.
get your pain on that. And it's heartbreaking to see that you girls work so hard on that. That's why I respect a lot of you, even if the looter stuff that you do, because you guys are putting out there. There's a lot of and then there's some cosplayers who are not comfortable in doing stuff like that, who have to put their subconscious aside just to do it because they know they're trying to go and get the money they need to work on either getting to a convention of their dreams or getting the cosplay equipment money that they need. You know, not everybody can be just more confident with their body to do stuff like that, like you and a few others.
Hmm. Well, anyone that never is, like, I would never suggest them to do it. The only reason why, like, I am is because, well, because I am. Like, but it's, yeah. I
Yeah,
always say to people, like, Patreon is for you and your supporters, so don't do anything you don't want to.
that
That's
makes yeah.
a regrettable decision.
Yeah, that makes complete sense of it. I personally, it's not my cup of tea for doing it myself of it, but because it was always a point on my case of it as a photographer. I don't know if it's meant for me, but it works better for like cosplayers like yourself in the case of it, because not if everybody shouldn't expect that Playboy is giving you the big checks all the time to play
Oh
for
no, I'm
this
just
was like,
contracted out from them. Yeah, like
exactly.
I'm not on payroll.
Yeah, yeah. I always think that case of it as well. I also want to ask you because you're a Canadian lady, of course. Um,
Hmm.
I have never been to Ontario, so this will be a perfect question for you. What would be the best way to describe Ontario to a person who always wants to know what it's like? Because I've never been there. There will come a time that I will be there because a lot of people, such as yourself, are down there,
Hmm.
and I've never lived down there. I never visited down there. I never worked down there. It's an entirely new area of terrain for me, and maybe depending on how my future goes as a photographer, it may come to the point where it may be a new place for discovery for me. Like for example, when I went to New York to meet you last year, it was my first time in New York, honestly.
Okay.
So I had a lot to take in on New York City. It was such a mysterious magic world to me. It was like seeing a whole jungle. So I'm completely off the radar on knowing what Ontario's like, except for the few people such as yourself and a few friends and celebrities that I've known who are from that area. So what would be the best way to describe Ontario to me?
Well, if you're coming from America, all of Canada is extremely clean. So you'll be like, oh my God, there's no garbage anywhere. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And that's always something I notice when I travel back and forth is I'm like, wow, man, like we have it so lucky. It's so beautiful. Um, Lots of greenery. Okay, like we've got such a small pop, like Toronto's huge. I live in Toronto, but there's
Hmm.
so much greenery and nature and stuff. It's absolutely gorgeous. So like Ontario specifically, we have all the Great Lakes that run through it. So like going camping, being outdoors, if that's your type of thing, Ontario and Vancouver as well, like British Columbia, are amazing for that. So, and I mean, yeah, people are nice. Food
Okay.
is amazing because
Yeah.
we've got like so many different cultural backgrounds that live, especially within like the GTA and the Toronto area. So you're looking at amazing food and
Well.
epic culture and lots of outdoor awesomeness. So
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, like I said, I've only known so much as literally all I know. The two things in Canada is colder weather, hockey, and poutine. That's my limit.
Well,
And I'm like,
I
there's
wouldn't
more.
take that much to heart because it's like 32 degrees right now.
Okay.
So that's like, I don't know, 95 degrees.
Yeah.
It's
Good.
extremely hot. So that whole cold thing, I don't know what people are talking about. It gets cold in the winter,
Yeah.
but my God, it is so hot right now.
I that's the shocker of me right now. I'm like, wait, it gets actually hot in Canada? I'm.
It's hotter. Yeah, I was in LA and it's 10 times hotter here right now than it is in LA.
That's a surprise. But then again, I've been to Arizona too, and I was like in the hundreds. I worked out in 110 weather in Arizona. It was just I don't know how Jessica can do that. Honestly, it was just I did a photo shoot at a beach area. It was 110. I had to carry like 5 bottles of water with me because I was almost dehydrated and passed out from shooting.
Right?
It was ridiculous. And I lived in a Mesa area. That's the crazy part. You would never think like in Mesa it would be that hot, except if you're like in Phoenix or further down Tucson area. But it's massively hot. So
Mm-hmm.
and then like and I'd rather deal with that than the cold weather. Honestly, cold is not my thing. So
Yeah.
I was
Same.
always concerned on that case. I'm like, so how much? When it came to knowing so little about the Canada area, the first thing was my head was how many coats am I have to bring? I have to wear different layers. Am I gonna look like Ralphie's brother in A Christmas Story? I can't get my arms down with the jacket. I can't get up. I can't get up. I felt like that was going to me.
If you come in the winter, then yeah, you're gonna have that problem.
Okay.
But if you come in the summertime, you better bring light clothes because it is hot.
Oh man, that makes me feel easy. I'm like, okay, so it's not as cold as always as I thought. That's good.
No, we have summers. Come on.
I didn't think summers existed in Canada. That's why I'm like, I always see cold. I've never seen it. They don't even market it on television for some reason. The hot your
Because
summers.
you're in America, man. America is so self-centered.
uh, I
So
don't.
self-centered.
I
Listen.
don't get it. I mean, I'm not gonna say you're wrong, but it's the truth, and it's just it makes no sense. I'm like, okay, if there is hot weather in Canada, you guys need to broadcast it. Even a travel channel would be smart enough to broadcast it. No, every time I've seen on television, whether it's a commercial, a TV show, a documentary, it's always the cold of Canada, and I'm like, okay, you film it there in Vancouver and such a. Why is there no hot weather? I have not seen not one moment anybody in a swimsuit. I don't even think people in swimsuits wear swimsuits in Canada. There was one point.
Well, I mean, I've been wearing bikinis for the last 4 days. If you go on Instagram,
Well, in your
yeah,
case of it, I'm pretty sure of it. You brag a lot in the case on yours. When it's you, I can believe it because you broadcast it a lot, especially on Snapchat too. So, like I said, so I'm like again for people at home, this is how big a fan I am of hers in the case of it. So she's not lying on that case. Um, One of my favorite memories in your case of it was a lot of people who are going to be disappointed up saying case of it, but you are taken. But there was a point where I believe a Korean news network broadcast about the fact that you were only attracted to apparently uh, uh, men of color. I will just say,
yeah, Asians mostly.
yeah, Asians to be more precise. How did you feel about that broadcast?
I don't know. It was strange. I always find it very interesting that people are so, or they want to be so involved. Like, I'm white. Right, that's cool. Next. Like, why does it matter that I specifically find one race or culture, like, to my preference, right? Like, some boys like brunettes, some boys like girls with blonde hair. For some reason, I just think Asians are pretty damn cute. So I've dated quite a few in the past.
Of course.
I've dated some white boys too. I've dated many different ethnicities and cultures. But I don't know. Unfortunately, there's something very, like, white culture likes to desexualize and demasculine Asians.
Mm-hmm.
So it was apparently this big deal that me being a playmate and being like a gorgeous white girl, it was hard for people to understand why I thought Asians were attractive.
Mm-hmm.
It's stupid. It's
It-
really stupid.
It is. It is. I've never known anybody of a net, like, especially broadcasting press, to actually just go and demonetize it because of the fact of your background of who you are and what you do automatically puts you in a category of, oh, if she's a model, she works for this company and such, that means she's only specifically for these type of people. So when we see her dating this entirely different demographic of people, it's completely opposites. And it's like, but she's a human being. She's allowed to have those type of acquired taste in the sense of it. And when I saw that, I couldn't help but laugh because I'm just like, so what's the big deal? The only thing that made me laugh about, and that's what I felt too, and I'm pretty sure you felt it was laughable, but just it was still uncomfortable in some sense of it. But I knew it was like a laughable case of it because for people to just go and broadcast about you and your background on that sense of it, it's just ridiculous. It is. And
Yeah, I was just kind of like, okay, like,
Yeah.
why is the big deal?
Exactly, and that's I wanted to know your full say on that because while you have mentioned about it like once or twice on social media, especially Twitter, because I know you're very very vocal on Twitter. 140 letters can only do so much in expression on
Mm-hmm.
that. So that's what I felt in the case of when you in your case of it. So knowing about your cosplay in the case of it, what was the hardest cosplay in your entire collection? Was it hard for you to develop and to work on a complete cosplay? Out of all the cosplays you've done?
Well, Zelda recently was pretty damn hard.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just because it had so many facets to it, but also half of the artwork like wasn't very detailed at the time of me making it, so that was very hard.
Okay.
Um, that was very hard. And my Cloud Strife too, because that was the first time I made such a large weapon.
Oh yeah, the Buster Sword. Yeah, that had to
Yeah,
be a challenge.
so I had a hard time with that. It just took a long time for me, basically.
Okay.
Um, yeah, but yeah, what I'm
What
working on what I'm working on next will probably be my biggest and most strainful, evil project. So,
is there any chances you can let us know a little bit about that project, or do we have to just
it's Zelda.
okay? It's okay. So we do know it's Zelda related.
It's Zelda related.
It's
I've got like 4 right now that are actually Zelda related. It's pretty
this is
intense.
yeah. This is what I'm talking about, folks. This is you cannot be more hardcore of a Zelda fan than this girl. Seriously, I I don't even I don't even think you've ever done a crossplay of Link, have you?
Not yet.
That needs to be on your rest. It needs to be on there eventually. You do know that. I mean, if Jessica can pull it off too, then anything's possible with you as well. I think it needs to happen for you once in a while. I think your little twist to it, because my personal favorites, even though your Zelda work is amazing, your Zelda cosplays are great. My personal favorites are the twist that you've done for some of the DC characters. Even though some of them, like my personal one, even though it was more like a swimsuit type of way, you're Aquaman. I
Right.
like that was one of my favorites. And despite everyone else's judgment about Diva, you have been the most enthusiastic one doing various divas that are built more creative than anyone else I've known.
Oh,
Because
thanks.
yes, because it truly, like I said, truly, like if you were born in another life, I could see you as Diva in so many ways because of how much of your characteristics are similar to her. So, in the way you've done with her, I love all the mix and things that you've done with her in the case of it. So, those are my personal ones. But I won't lie and say that you've always been heavy with your Zelda cosplays with the related on those. It's just very surprising you have not done your own turn of a Link, and I think it's about that time sooner or later. So, I mean, if I gotta pass that idea off to you, you're welcome. I hope that I will be able to get a couple of shots in with that, whenever that will be, because
Well, don't worry, you won't have to wait long.
yeah, because I think you, along with Vera and 2 others, I was looking forward to because last time I saw Jessica was actually Colossicon this year, and
Okay.
I'm getting word in that hopefully they'll all be back. Everybody will be back next year. I believe Lady Danger was there as well. Intravenous, Bindo was there. Stella was there, of course. Um, so you, Vera, and one of my good friends, a cosplayer named Valiance, I'm hoping to try to get down there because we need as many as we get. And this con is getting a lot bigger every year. And
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
yeah, and I think you need to go to at least another con other than probably one over in Texas or in California that has a little bit more weather. And hello, indoor water park. I don't think you
I
ever.
know.
You
I
have
was
never.
gonna go this year. I had a room, but then I got booked at MegaCon. So
Yeah, yeah. I'm still putting in word for you. Don't worry. But I'm hoping next year that will be a possibility. If MegaCon doesn't say anything next year, I'm hoping you try to make it that next. I'm hoping you try to make it because you would love this place of it. Because I told Jessica of it in New York last year when I met you, and I think that's pretty much what led to her saying, "Well, I got to check this out." And even if you're not, even if you're just there to enjoy yourself a bit, it's a great place. I think that it's a paradise place for a lot of cosplayers like you guys to just enjoy yourselves and not worry about like the over glamorization of it. Everyone's just down to earth. You not have to worry about trouble like at certain
Yeah.
conventions and security wise or anything like that. You're just having fun and enjoying yourself. Even if you're not there just working or you're there cosplaying, you can just go there and just enjoy the sun, the water, the play area, just and just be social. And it's really that chill. I mean, I could not tell you how many cosplayers I talked to at the bar areas who just down to earth, and it shocked me that I'm just talking with most of these people, and and I have to remind myself these are just normal people who just have the same passion as me. It's just they work so hard at it, like you
Yeah.
guys. Y'all work so hard at it. The money, the time, the consumption you put into it, that's just the difference. But I put that on my own when it comes to photography. So when it
Hmm.
comes to that, like, in your case of it, I've always seen that. And that's, like I said, compare it. And that's, again, it goes back to what I said in the beginning when it comes to separating you from the other playmates. The enthusiasm, the love of what you have on video games and comic books and stuff, the love that you put into it in your cosplays, that sets you apart. You're not just a pretty face who can wear a costume that looks sexy in it. You are a person who loves what you do. You put into everything you do, and it's just the bonuses is the fact of how good you can do it. So,
Well, thank you.
and like I said, and it's honor. Again, it's an honor to know that I build up with a friendship with you and some of the other cosplayers because of that. Because me being the social inept that I am with my mental health, it's very hard to just break that ground of it. And I told Bendo Geek this too. I'm like, I never in the years would thought because I've only been 2 3 years now as a cosplaying photographer. I never would have thought I would be making friends with people like you and all the other cosplayers. And I'm not doing it for popularity or fame. It's just to just enjoy talking about things that we all talk about in a general basis. And
Mhm.
like even for our love of Zelda to every other game in the world or everything else in the world. So, but yeah, I don't mean to ramble on and gush about you. It's just, it's just
No, it's all good.
I feel if anything the case of it. So let's see. I have a few more other questions. Don't worry. I'm definitely giving you some questions in case of it. First, another question would be, um, if there was a dream cosplay that you were able to do with the omnipotence, let's just say, to be able with no money situations or any time consumption that you were able to acquire or create, what would that be?
Oh, I don't know. Hmm.
Like the dream cosplay.
Hmm. I don't know, because I already did my Zelda Breath of the Wild, so I'm pretty good.
There's never, not even non-Zelda. There's no cosplay that you've not willing that you wanted to try.
Well, no, I want to do so many. So many.
And I'm pretty sure
Um,
you will. It's just there. I
yeah.
mean, there's always a limit, though. There's always a
Well,
limit to
I
what you
would
can
love
pull
to have
off.
like a full-on functioning Diva mech.
Uh huh. Uh huh. I think.
I could cosplay that. That'd be fun.
I'll be grateful if I could do even another cosplay. I've only done two, honestly. I've officially only done two, and only because they're like regular casual clothing cosplays. So it's
Right,
not like I
right.
don't have to put in the work like you guys do with the warbler and the fabric and the seam string. Even though I have that lot of experience, I just don't have the money and the time to do that because I'm so focused on everything else. So
Right.
yeah, but like in the case of like for dream cosplays, like because I've done Lewis from Left 4 Dead, and a lot of people
Mhm.
know that I've done that for years. And then I've done the 10th Doctor, David Tennant from Doctor Who. Uh, I do plan on doing one more, but that might be like in a later process of things. Um, my other question then is, I do remember you had another talent of yours. You were featured on some music, some cases of it. Uh,
Mhm.
how long have you been, you know, tooling around with the musical skills? Let's just say.
I went to school for music. I went to school for musical theater, so I've, trained in vocals, singing, acting, dancing for years growing up in high school and college. So I've always been very artsy in this sense. Um, but yeah, I did, some vocals on a few poppy tracks and stuff like that. So that was always fun. I toured with High School Musical
Mm-hmm.
on stage as well back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so yeah, I like to sing. Not
Okay.
very much in public anymore.
So it's more
Yeah,
like,
it's weird, but I still like to sing and stuff.
uh, it's more of the, yeah, I'll sing privately, but
Yeah.
not to the public. So no, so
Hmm.
there will never be a musical career in the future out of this.
Yeah, I don't think so. No, I'm good. I'm good where I am.
I mean, I've heard a few people who've like gone into modeling, and then for some reason they think they can pull up a music career, and some of them are either good or not. So, but I've never known.
Yeah, singing is no joke. So
Mm, oh yeah, I've been to 2 or 3 performing arts classes myself, for a couple years, and trained in music myself. But I would never pursue that myself as a singing credential myself. It's too much work, too much. So,
yeah,
but I found it curious to know, like in the cases of when I've heard a few of your featured appearances in various independent records, and not anything bad. It's just the fact of just shocking, because I'm like, at one point, it's not surprising a model who has some singing credentials is doing vocal work, but then at the other hand, the music material that it is. So, it's just the fact of whether or not they're either fully invested into it or not. I've known models who've dabbled into production and DJ work, to a few who've got into dance production in some cases. That so yeah, well-rounded people like yourself. I've seen that happen. It's just never knew if they ever wanted to either focus on that packages, or if it was just a one-time or two-time thing that happening in the ends of it. So yeah, but to let people know in the case of it, it's not. She's not as bad. Like, I put you there with Will Ferrell and Step Brothers. That's what I
thank
will do. I will put you up there with Will Ferrell. Like, if you hear her, she's a songbird, but don't expect to hear a lot of it. When you do,
you.
it's
Right,
rare.
exactly.
I believe that the quote was the voice of a generation in the film. So that's the only movie I can think of right now at the moment that can really give me that good idea in the case of it. So, um, so aside from that, is there any chances? I figured I would leave the ground floor for you for some shameless plugging. So did you want to say anything out there about future appearances and what you're working on?
Yeah, I have several cons that I'm booked for. I get to go to Ecuador for the first time in August. I'm booked at Fan Expo Toronto, and that's going to be amazing. I'm going to start building some extremely large builds for it within the next few days, actually. Um, yeah, that's basically it. I got a lot of work to do before then, so I'm at home. I decided to not go to Anime Expo or San Diego Comic Con this year to prep and get some cosplays done that I really need the time for. And the money too, because they're not cheap. And going to San Diego and Anime Expo, I pay for it out of my pocket. So
Yeah.
I was just kind of like, all right, this year I'm gonna stay at home. I'm gonna get some serious awesome stuff done. So I think everyone will be happy.
I'm pretty. Oh, they have to be. I mean,
Right?
especially after I've heard so much about the good and bad of Anime Expo this year, and from what I'm hearing about some downhill things happening in San Diego, and I've never gone
Right.
to either of those myself. So it's like I don't know now.
Oh,
So
they're both great. They're both great, but I mean, sometimes people just don't have a good time. I heard quite a few things that, yeah, people didn't have as great of a time at Anime Expo this year as they wanted, but then I also saw some beautiful, amazing things. So I don't know. It's all,
yeah. Well,
you know,
I
yeah.
think that pretty much covers everything. So, other than that, again, like I said, I'm pretty sure everyone can follow you on all your social media. It's Holly. It's mostly Holly T Wolf, right? Because everything's
Yes,
Holly T Wolf.
Holly T. Wolf is my all my social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, Snapchat, and then YouTube is the only difference, which is just Hollywolf TV. Because they wouldn't let me put the T in between my name. They made me go after my name, and I was like, well, this is annoying.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that's pretty much covers everything. Thank you so much, Holly, for all of taking the time out to do this interview with me. Hopefully, we will be running to each other again very, very soon. And hopefully, I will let you just continue work, if anything else, on the cosplay. But is there anything else you wanted to mention before ending this note on today's episode?
No, pretty sure that's good. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Alrighty. And that is it for today's episode of the Yokumusaki Show. Also, I wanted to put out there for you guys out there who didn't know, I believe this month or June, July, she is also in, Holly is also on the cover of Playboy Philippines magazine. You can pick that up. It's available in newsstands, or you can pre-order that online. I'm pretty sure if you also go to Hollywolf's website at hollywolf.ca, you can also purchase an autographed copy of the issue along with pre-back issues featuring Holly on the cover. I'm pretty sure she has them there. Or if you're lucky to find one, so you pick one up in your newsstands in the Philippines or such, or you can ask a friend in the Philippines to buy it. But I want to thank Holly for taking the time out to do the show with me. Thank you to everyone out there who listening today, today's episode. Also, as another reminder for you guys out there, if you guys want any specific guests you want me to have on the show, if there's anybody on the show you would like me to see, if there's anybody who you want you'd like to see on the show, if there's any cons that you want me to appear or to record my episodes of the show is on, let me know on Facebook.com/whoisyokumusaki, or go to my Instagram page, Instagram.com/Yokumusaki, or go to my active Twitter, which is Twitter.com/Yokumusaki. You can also use the hashtag #TheYokumusaki Show to make sure you get your information as well. Any questions, anything you want me to talk about, any topics on the show, any guests you would like me to see on the show as well. Also, again, I will have my boy Mark back on the show on the next episode. He will be back. I pray you that. I can't do the show without him. Also, want to give a big shout out to everybody at Catalyst Mints, my sponsor, for my Twitch page. Also, make sure you check out my Twitch. I will be back streaming on our official schedule for my Twitch channel as well, twitch.tv/Yokumusaki. I will be doing more game streaming on there, along with console streaming. I don't know when I will be back on live streaming my podcast until I get everything set up on this end. But I promise you and I assure you, I will be back on live streaming of the Yokumusaki Show. It will be back soon. But for now, you'll be getting these pre-recorded episodes that I have just for you guys, as always. And I will also be back with movie reviews as well. For those out there who've been wondering, am I going to do another movie review? I guarantee you I will. There may be a few movies that might be a little bit late because they were in theaters and now they're on DVD and Blu-ray, but I assure you I will have reviews for those as well. If there's anything specific you want me to review about, let me also know on all my social media, including using the hashtag #TheYokumusaki Show. With that being said, guys, that's it for today's episode. I am, of course, your favorite cat ear extraordinaire. Thank you as always, and until the next time, later days.